myself. And Ibrahim said, I don't want to end up in a bag. Everything is negotiable except my death. I want a full shroud, 170 centimeters long. I don't give up any part of my body. I want it whole. I want my arms, my feet, my heart, my head, my 20 fingers and my two. I want to return to the womb of the earth as I was created from it. The same earth here in this country. I don't mind if I'm buried in a mass grave, but I want my name on the tombstone, my age as well, and that I am from here, from this slaughtered homeland. And I would like, with a bitter plea, for my grave to be in a real cemetery. Not a street, not a sidewalk, nothing else. As our last wish and our right. Farewell. Hours after Ibrahim Al-Rullah posted this on Facebook, Ibrahim, his wife, and his 5-month-old baby girl were killed. Shame!
Shame!
Free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Thank you, Sela. Free, free!
Palestine!
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 Our next speaker is here representing the Muslim Association of Britain, one of the co-organisers of today's march. Please give a warm welcome to Mustafa.
Before I start, I just want to pay testament to each and every single one of you here today, showing those far-right, violent thugs how peaceful protest is done in this country. 300 days have gone past, and the world has witnessed a genocide unfold. In Gaza, 40,000 Palestinians and more have been killed. Children, women, the elderly, journalists, doctors, nurses, hospitals and schools have all been deemed legitimate targets by the genocidal Israeli regime. This is not a conflict. This is America, an atrocity and a crime against humanity. This is a genocide. For months, we have marched through the streets calling for an immediate and permanent ceasefire. For months, we were ignored, dismissed. We were told that Israel had the right to defend itself, that Israel had the right to cut off food, water, fuel and electricity to millions of people. We were called hate marchers, we were demonized, we were ridiculed. But look at us now! Our movement has grown stronger by the day. We are more determined, we are more resilient. And thanks to each and every single one of you, our government has started to shift its position. They are now heeding our calls for a ceasefire, albeit too little, too late. They have dropped their objections to the International Criminal Court's application for arrest warrants for Benjamin Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant for war crimes. These are positive steps, but it is not enough. We must carry on. The international Court of Justice has spoken, and the UK must comply with international law. It must enact a full and immediate arms embargo on Israel. Our government must take this crucial step and stand on the right side of history. Our fight is not over until this genocide ends. We are the voice of the voiceless, the strength for the weak, the hope for the hopeless. We will not be silenced. We will not be stopped. Let us keep this spirit of resistance alive until we have justice and until those who have committed the most heinous crimes against humanity are held to account. Thank you very much.
Palestine! Palestine! Palestine!
Now, it is my huge honour to bring you our first numbers estimate for this demonstration. We've just had word that the very back of the demo is still just by Piccadilly Circus, which means we've got at least 100,000 people here on the streets of London with us today. 100,000 people calling for an end to arms sales to Israel, for an end to British complicity in 300 days of ongoing genocides. It is also my huge pleasure to bring you a short message from the People's Prime Minister, Jeremy Corbyn, who can't be here with us on this demonstration today. He says, "My apologies for not being at today's march. I am at long-arranged events in Ireland. 40,000 lives lost, international legal judgments against Israel, an arrest warrant against Netanyahu, and millions around the world protesting in support of Palestine. How much more incentive do President Biden and Prime Minister Starmer need to halt arms supplies to Israel? Our march and our voice is one for peace, against racism and against division. We represent hope and we will never go away. Solidarity with each and every one of you, Jeremy Corbyn." Our next speaker is here today representing the Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament and one of the co-organisers of today's rally. Please give a very, very warm welcome to Kate Hudson.
Thank you very much. Friends, this week our new Foreign and Defence Secretaries, Lammy and Healy, have been on tour in the Middle East. They claim their message has been, quote, to stress the urgent need for de-escalation. And it's reported that when Healy met Yoav Gallant in Tel Aviv yesterday, he called for an immediate ceasefire. So how is it that on X, Gallant thanked Healy for his commitment to the UK-Israel relationship and said they had discussed the importance of defence ties between the UK and Israel?
Hypocrites!
Friends, how can Lammy and Healy possibly be serious about calling for a ceasefire when this new British government continues to send arms to Israel? Surely, friends, if you want to stop the killing, you stop sending the weapons to the killers. The truth is, while the British government continues to arm Israel, any talk by them of calling for a ceasefire is just meaningless platitudes. It's hypocrisy of the worst kind, and it is utterly sickening. Because the truth is there for all to see. Yesterday, Sky News reported on the terrible conditions in Al-Mawasi, where 1.9 million Palestinians are gathered, living alongside dead bodies, garbage and raw sewage, where polio and cholera are spreading, skin diseases, rashes and terrible insect bites are rife. And there is nothing with which to treat these appalling afflictions. Life in Al-Mawasi is intolerable. And that's the reality. And the only thing that will make a difference is a ceasefire. So that is our demand today, that our government makes that happen, not by going on visits to talk to war criminals about defence ties with Israel, but by ending all political and diplomatic support for Israel, and above all, by stopping sending arms to Israel.
Все выступающие говорят о том, что нужно приостановить, вооружать Израиль. Сегодня практически что объявили около 100 тысяч человек на этом марше, на демонстрации.
Thank you, Kate. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? It has been over 300 days since the current genocide and 76 years of the occupation. And our next speaker is someone who has been fighting against apartheid for decades. He's here representing Friends of Al-Aqsa, one of the co-organisers of today's protest. So please give a very warm welcome to Dr. Ismail Patel.
Сейчас будет выступать доктор Исмаил Пател.
Israel, over the past 10 months, has been deliberately and systematically carrying out the targeted killing of women and children, bombing hospitals, bombing refugee camps, targeting journalists, torturing prisoners, denying water and food to create mass starvation. Israel has violated every principle of the Human Rights Charter. Israel has a flagrant disregard for the highest court in the world, the ICC and the ICJ. Above and beyond this, Israel is continuing with its assassination of Palestinian leadership. Just to mention a few, Israel has assassinated Khalil al-Wazir, Yahya Ayyash, Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, Abdulaziz Ratisi, Ismail Haniya. This assassination by Israel over the past decades has not silenced the Palestinians to seek freedom. Israel will not and cannot wipe away Palestinian rights to self-determination with its tyrannical assassination threats. Every time Israel assassinates a Palestinian, the world gets stronger in defense of the Palestinian rights. Today, because of our efforts, Israel is isolated. Even Japan has refused Israel to attend the Nagasaki peace ceremony. However, there remains just a handful of governments still supporting Israel's occupation and genocide. One of these governments is, of course, the UK government. Before the election, we were promised the Labour government would recognize the state of Palestine. Well, Keir Starmer has reneged on that promise. We were also promised Labour government would stop arming Israel. Well, Keir Starmer has deferred that as well. Let us join together and send a clear and a collective message. We demand an immediate ban to arms sales to Israel. We demand the recognition of Palestinian state. We demand the UK government comply with the letter and spirit of the ICC and ICJ rulings. We will not allow for the Israeli genocide to be
следовать международному
normalized.
закону
We owe
и
it to the next
вердиктов, которые были
generation and
вынесены
say
Международным уголовным
racism
судом
is
и
not
Международным
acceptable.
судом.
Genocide is not acceptable. Occupation is not acceptable. Apartheid is not
и
acceptable.
геноцид,
Israel and its
апартеид
fewer and fewer
это
allies
всё,
are being isolated.
что нельзя
And we
принимать,
here continue
с чем надо
to make
бороться.
sure that this ends sooner rather than later. Continue with our marching,
И
boycotting,
поэтому
and
мы
lobbying.
сегодня собрались
Palestine
тут,
is going to be free, my friends. Free, free,
чтобы
free, free,
все это
free, free.
приостановить.
Thank you very much.
Ну и возгласы, конечно.
Let's hear for Ishmael and the friends of Al-Aqsa. Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Let me hear this side. I said free, free! Free, free! Let me hear this side. Free, free! Free, free! Let me hear the middle. Free, free! Free, free! Now everyone together. I said free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Now on every single one of our demonstrations, you will have seen that we have had a big Jewish bloc with Jewish people from all sorts of organizations coming together to Gaza. Our next speaker is from today's Jewish bloc representing a Jewish socialist group. Please give it up for Julia Bard!
Представитель еврейского блока, представительница, точнее.
Greetings from the Jewish Socialist Group and the Jewish Bloc for Palestine.
Представляет еврейскую группу.
We are a growing
За
coalition
Палестину.
of Jewish activist groups and individuals who will not stand by while Israel wreaks violence and destruction against the Palestinians. Whatever the Israeli government and our self-proclaimed Jewish community leaders say, this inhumanity is not being carried out in our name. This
Она начала выступление с того, что
has
подчеркнула,
not happened in a
что
vacuum. It is
что-то
the
повторяет
latest
Израиль в Палестине
genocide
не
the
должно
world has
происходить
seen, but not the only
во
one.
имя
And the
еврейского народа,
perpetrators
настоящего еврейского
have
народа.
political and military support from their counterparts and collaborators in countries all over the world, not least our own government. We are marching in the Jewish bloc because we are anti-fascists and anti-racists. We are socialists and anarchists. We are black and we are white and we are brown. We come from different traditions and backgrounds. We are human beings who challenge Israel's genocide of the Palestinians because we have learned from our own history that no individual, no group, no people can fight persecution on its own. We have a vision of a future built on foundations of solidarity,
Говоря вкратце, она
coexistence and equality,
подчеркивает,
an
что
anti-nationalist future which doesn't
что
carve
особенно
up the
подчеркивает,
world,
что не должно,
which doesn't
что
impose
геноцид должен
borders
прекратиться,
and
что
build
это не должно
walls
происходить
and then
во имя
claim the
еврейского
right to
народа.
murder those who transgress them. We are internationalists, not nationalists. Our
Что они выступают за
anti-nationalism is
человеческие
a challenge
ценности,
to the fascists marauding across our country, threatening Muslims and other minorities. It's
И
a
что не может
challenge
быть
to the
места
governments who want to stop the
расизму,
boat and
апартеиду,
deport migrants.
национализму
And it's a challenge to
и
Zionists
всему тому, что
who, as
приводит
well as
к
destroying the lives of
войнам.
Palestinians, belittle, insult and abuse Jews outside Israel. Just this week, former Israeli government spokesperson Elon Levy proudly described Israel as not your grandparents' Jews anymore. He is desecrating the memory of those millions who were persecuted and murdered by the Nazis, those who resisted and those who were unable to resist. We know from our bitter history where nationalism can lead. In 1933, Henrik Ehrlich, a leader of our political ancestors, the Jewish
Она
Socialist
рассказывает
Book
про Гедеона Леви,
described
если вы
the
не
rise of
слушали,
the
это
Nazis as
редактор,
nationalism
главный редактор и
stripped naked.
публицист газеты «Харец».
He said that in
Получается, что он
appropriate
был атакован,
circumstances, Jewish nationalism would show
атакован
its sharp teeth and
сионистами.
nails no less than the nationalisms of other nations. Tragically, that has come to pass, but we will not stop marching, campaigning, demanding an end to the violence, the war crimes and the devastation. We say to our government and to all the governments fueling the genocide, stop arming Israel. We will go on marching until Palestine is free.
Free, free! Free, free! In our thousands, in our millions! In our thousands, in our millions! And in our millions, in our billions! Our next performer is a British singer-songwriter. Please give a very warm welcome to Alexi Murdoch.
Hello. I was just asked
Спикер у нас,
to sing something to
писатель,
you.
композитор британский.
I actually think it's unbelievable that we're still here
Я лично
after 302
не
days.
знаю его,
But you are
его
blessed.
творчество точнее.
And I want to say something to the people who are
Все вот
not here
будут
today.
выступать и
Deep down in their hearts know
посмотрим.
that what is being committed goes against all humanity. And I want to say to you that if you support Israel, your support for Israel is a direct result of your miseducation on Palestine.
Он говорит, если вы поддерживаете
Look at the history.
Израиль, это
It
говорит
is
о том,
not
что
complicated.
вы что-то пропустили.
Occupation is evil. Apartheid is evil. Genocide is evil.
Истории.
We all know this. It is time to stop. When I was a boy,
Когда
I
я был
walked on the
мальчик,
shores of the Mediterranean Sea.
я гулял по
smelled the thyme
берегу
on the hills.
Средиземноморья.
And saw the silver of the olive tree. My father. I looked out over the water and I could not see. There, on the far shore, a child, just like me, yearning to be free.
Ну, скорее всего,
Here
его.
we are now, all together. Here we are now, all alone. We don't know where we are going. All the while we are going home.
Не буду переводить песню, я начала переводить, но, по-моему, нет смысла.
Remember my voice.
Я сначала подумала, что он рассказывает историю какую-то.
Do you remember?
Но это песня от первого лица.
Do you remember when you were a child? How the light fell on the skin of your hands. All the voices, strange and wild. Remember my voice. Remember my voice. And when you find yourself in the cold water, when you find yourself all alone, you feel the current pulling against you. You hear the voices calling you home. Remember my voice. Oh child, remember my voice. Oh child, remember my voice. Oh child, remember my voice. Now here is my prayer, and here is my prophecy. Here is the future that I see. The land will sing in peace again. Its people will be free. The land will sing in peace again. Its people will be free. The land will sing in peace again. Its people will be free. The land will sing in peace again. Its people will be free. From the river, from the river, from the river, its people will be free. Palestine Hurra.
From the river from the river Now continuing with our speakers and performers who are from arts organisations supporting Palestine, I would like to welcome someone else from the White Kite Collective, an actor from A to Z Theatre. Please welcome Ruth Lass.
Hi. In the period since October the 7th, Hossam Madhoun has written over 100 accounts of his life through this genocide. Hossam is a writer, an actor, a child protection officer, and the co-artistic director of Theatre for Everybody in Gaza, who have been working and collaborating with Jonathan Chadwick at As Theatre London since 2002. As a Jew, it is the honour of my life to share the words of our dear friend Hossam and to stand in solidarity and love with the Palestinian people, my brothers and sisters, always. This piece by Hossam is called Sounds. I lay down on the mattress. Complete darkness, but for the slight light of a poor, small candle. Closing my eyes, hoping to fall asleep. It doesn't work. 2 days and nights, not a single minute of sleep. It is amazing how human senses become stronger and more sensitive when you lose one. Like people who have no eyesight, their hearing becomes sharper. This is what happens to me when closing my eyes. During the day, there's lots of noise, lots of sounds, mixed sounds of people, chats, speaking, shouting, bombing, explosions, drones, Air Force planes cutting the sky in pieces. All mixed, so I can't and don't concentrate on any one sound. In the dark, in the supposedly complete silence, and while laying down with eyes closed, I started to focus more on the sounds surrounding me. The sound of a plastic sheet covering the window, which has lost its glass, moving in the night breeze. The breathing and sighs of my mother beside me. My heartbeats. The squeak of the field cockroaches, the sound of a bird back late to its nest, or flying out of his nest due to the noise of an explosion. A little baby crying at the nearby neighbor's home and his mother comforting him. The swish of branches in the trees, moving slightly. A whoop of an owl coming from the distance. Street dogs getting crazy and barking when bombs happen. Sounds of some cats fighting. All these sounds mean life, mean hope, mean tomorrow will come, despite anything. Other sounds are coming. Over all other sounds, making all other sounds vanish. occupying the air and the atmosphere, invading the silence to say death is coming. The sound of the military drone, the only similar sound is the electric shaving machine doubled 100 times, filling the space with its noise that no one can even ignore for a moment. Every live creature is obliged to hear it at all times. Humans, animals, birds, trees, even stones could crack out of madness the sound causes. The passing military airplanes, F-15, F-16, F-32, I don't know what, cutting the sky like a knife goes through a piece of butter, carrying death wherever they go. The sound of the artillery shelling, boom! Each shell makes 3 sounds. The echo of the sound repeated, boom, boom, boom. The sound of a rocket strike, very loud, very sharp. If you hear it, then you are alive. It is so fast that if it hits you, you won't hear it. Anyone in Gaza who hears the rocket immediately knows that it has hit some other people, leaving death and destruction behind it. We all know that by experience. We learned the hard way. Sitting in the dark, trying to ignore the loud sounds of death and concentrate on the little life sounds. Not easy. But this is my way to pass the night, hoping to overcome the insomnia for just a few hours. Thank you. Free Palestine!
Национальная история закончилась.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Free, free!
Выкрикивают
Free,
известные
free!
всем возгласы.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free!
Мне кажется, люди подустали.
Our next speaker is the president of PCS, the union, representing over 200,000 public sector workers. So please give a very warm welcome to Martin Kavanagh.
Comrades, as I did at the first demonstration on the 14th of October last year, I bring solidarity from our union PCS to all of you attending the demonstration and to the thousands of activists out this weekend countering the abhorrent, emboldened far right in this country. I want to start by thanking every single one of you here today for continuing to ensure that our collective voice is heard for the people of Palestine and against the devastation and genocide that we witness in Gaza and the West Bank. This week, sadly, the headlines have been focused elsewhere as the emboldened fascism and far right in this country continue to take to the streets in large numbers, seeking to capitalise on the horrific events in Southport last Monday morning. As they riot and spew their hatred and division to towns and cities across the UK, activists, anti-racists and anti-fascists are rightly countering their narrative. And even though sometimes outnumbered, still standing up for what's right in the knowledge collectively there are more of us than there ever will be of them. And comrades, while the focus of many of us understandably has to be shared right now during these testing times between opposing the fascists and supporting the Palestinian people, today is a timely reminder that our demands for an immediate and permanent ceasefire, for a change in direction from our new government, for the free and independent Palestine are needed more than ever. And comrades, the genocide being committed in Gaza and the escalating violence of Israel throughout the region show us what happens when the politics of hate and division are allowed to become a true force of power. Now we have right-wing people sitting on the green benches behind me, with a political foothold in many of our communities backed up by the mobs roaming the streets. On these worrying times, we must be absolutely clear. We will fight every single one of them, every single week, until they disappear back down the hole they came from. But comrades, we must never allow their increasing presence to detract us from why we are here today in our so many numbers. Always remembering, while some use the rhetoric of protecting children as an excuse to take part in disorder and violence against our communities. In Palestine, we've seen over 15,000 children killed, 4,000 suspected to be unburied under rubble, 17,000 separated from their families, and many more severely injured. So while these difficult times are here at home, we will never forget the devastation and genocide experienced by the Palestinian brothers and sisters. And we must commit from here every single day moving forward to raise our voices even louder than they have been, and tell our government and every world leader supports an independent and free Palestine. Comrades, in closing I must say this. My union has been proud to support these campaigns since last October and for decades before. We will always be there alongside our brothers and sisters needing that support and freedom in Palestine. But we will support every single one of our members who wants to refuse to issue licences to Israel, armed licences. We will back our members who are being asked to break international law. And comrades, we will never be silenced. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free! Free, free! Our next speaker is the chair of the International Committee of Unison the Union, representing over 1.4 million workers in Britain. Please give a very warm welcome to Liz Wheatley.
Опять представительница рабочего союза произносит также представительница рабочего союза.
In our thousands, in our millions. Solidarity from Unison to all of you marching here today and every other day. Because it matters that we march. It matters to the Palestinians. It matters to everyone who wants to see a free Palestine. And it matters that we tell the politicians we won't stop, we won't go away. Last time I stood on a platform here in Whitehall as Rafah was being bombed, we had a Tory government. A government full of bigots, a government representing their friends in the city and their friends the arms dealers. The government may have changed, but our demands haven't. So we demand of Keir Starmer an immediate permanent ceasefire now. Stop the sale of arms to Israel and recognise the Palestinian state. And he needs to hear us now in Downing Street. We will march until we win. And I'm here as a trade unionist and a socialist. I work in the public sector and we call for boycott, divestment and sanctions. We don't want our services or our pensions to be funded by the dirty money from war and occupation. We want ethical investment from the top to bottom of government and the public sector. And we've had some wins recently as well. We're seeing some councils divesting our pensions. And of course the fantastic student encampments have seen colleges like Trinity and just this week King's College agreeing to divest. Our movement, when we organise, we can win. And finally, one more reason it matters that we stay on the streets and we make sure that they're our streets. Because last Saturday, about 15,000 people marched with Nazi Tommy Robinson. He stood in Trafalgar Square up there and he said, this is a quote from him, "Look around you, not a single Palestinian flag in sight. This is the London we want." And actually today, up and down the country, anti-racists are marching against the Nazis on the far right. And as I look out over Whitehall today, across
один человек, его зовут Робинсон, он ультраправый. Я так понимаю, они организовывали демонстрацию. И я цитирую его слова, которые сказал: «Смотрите вокруг нас ни одного палестинского флага». Это тот самый Лондон, о котором мы мечтаем, мы хотим вернуть.
From the river to the sea. 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 Our next speaker is a journalist with Al Jazeera. She's also a member of Media Workers for Palestine, and she's representing the London freelance branch of the National Union of Journalists. So please give a warm welcome to Mariam El-Fayed.
Thank you very much, everyone, and I apologize to our colleagues in Gaza because this is so late to have a speaker from our branch or from our union to speak in the national march after 7 months of killing like never before. There is always a question why Palestinian journalists are not equal. We didn't witness a proper condemnation of the most significant attack on the journalists. The death toll of the Palestinian journalists is the highest in all the modern history. And now, none of the leaders formally condemned them. The Western leaders united in solidarity with journalists from Charles Hebdo attack. All of them assembled to them. Nothing happened to our Palestinian colleagues and journalists. The White House has screamed in the wall, the beheaded fake story babies, when the babies were Israeli and when the story were fake. Where is the White House now when our colleague Ismail al-Ghul head exploded? Where is the White House? Where is our new government? We are unionists. We are the most representative in these people of taxpayers. May we question the government about our money if it's used in arming, targeting our journalists in Gaza, if our money is used in technologies to target and assassinate journalists in Gaza. Our new government, it's time. We are here to ask you because it's time to investigate to which degree the former government were complicit in killing the journalists and targeting them. We shouldn't be helping the Israelis to target civilians or journalists. Now here in front of the 10 Downing streets, I urge Keir Starmer now, not tomorrow, to keep his word before the elections. He promised to immediately recognize Palestine. Yet he didn't. And I'm telling 10 Downing Street, Great Britain shouldn't be waiting a permission from the White House to recognize Palestine or not. The idea of thinking that killing a journalist is silencing them. No, you need to change your strategies. We do not fear bullets. In Palestine, we don't like the war. But if there is a call for the war, we are going to be in the front line. Finally, to Netanyahu, you may have succeeded to kill over 160 of our colleagues, but you will never kill the idea of resistance and dedication. Netanyahu, you beheaded Ismail al-Ghul, our friend, and over 160 journalists to silence them. We are here to be Gaza journalist megaphones forever.
прошлое выступление.
Free! Free! Free!
Мы продолжаем возгласом.
And a message to number 10. Stop arming Israel! Stop arming Israel! Stop arming Israel! And our next speaker is taking that message direct to the Labour Party. She's the pro-Palestine voice of Labour's National Executive Council. Please give it up for Jess Barrard.
Solidarity London to the far-right racist thugs and the likes of the fascist Tommy Robinson, who have torn apart communities this week, attacked mosques, harassed our Muslim brothers and sisters, targeted refugees and migrants, and threatened to attack our solidarity marches with Palestine. We have a message for them. We will not be intimidated. We will not be silenced. You will not divide us. And we will stand against Islamophobia, and we will stand for Palestine. We are the many, they are the few, and London, we will win. To the politicians and the media who've whipped up fear and hate and lies against migrants, against refugees, and against our marches that we all know have stood for peace and solidarity for Palestine, I say to them, shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! We will not forget that while bombs rained down on the children of Gaza, you turned a blind eye to the crimes of Israel and you demonized those of us demanding peace. Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you! For months, we have been turning out for the people of Gaza. Over 300 days, Palestinians have faced bombardment, displacement, starvation and crimes against humanity. And throughout these months, we have been calling on, demanding parliamentarians end the UK complicity, end UK arms sales to Israel, to boycott, to divest and to sanction Israel. We welcome the decision not to oppose the ICC arrest warrant of war criminal Netanyahu. And finally, the restoration of UNRWA funding, righting a wrong that should never have happened in the first place. This is the bare minimum. This week, the head of the British Army met with the IDF, promising deepening military ties between the UK and Israel. Statements from the Foreign Secretary focus only on Israeli suffering and continues to dismiss the ongoing genocide. David Lammy, where is your humanity? We've had the Business Secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, former Vice Chair of Labour Friends of Israel, say he sees a trade deal with Israel as crucial to the future of UK growth. What I see as crucial is to make sure that the UK never again is complicit in a genocide. So to the Labour front bench, when will your complicity end? Last week I said to Keir Starmer, you claim you want Labour to be a force for good in the world. You claim Labour have returned the UK to the international stage. You claim you are a champion of human rights. So when will you end this Labour government's complicity in war crimes, and will you end arms sales to Israel now? And London, now that Keir Starmer sits in number 10, let's be louder than ever. Back in October, when I first addressed this march, colleagues in my party told me to stop calling on our leader Keir Starmer because he's just in opposition, they said. Well, he's not in opposition anymore, and his excuses have run out. Starmer, we don't want excuses, we don't want delay, we don't want you to say you're different from the Tories, we want you to smash the Tory legacy of complicity in Israeli war crimes. We want action, no more delay, no more excuses. Keir Starmer, you talk about the full force of the law. Well, it's time to use the full force of UK law, of international law, of human rights law to bring an end to the bombing, an end to the genocide, an end to the crimes being committed by Israel, an end to the ethnic cleansing, end to the illegal occupation, and an end to apartheid. And we will be here and we see peace for Palestine, justice for Palestine, and freedom for Palestine. So wave your flags high, raise your voices louder. Free, free Palestine!
Что он больше не в оппозиции, теперь он должен сдержать все свои обещания. Поддержать Палестину.
Free, free! From the river to the sea!
Palestine will be free!
From the river to the sea! From the river to the sea!
Использовать все свои влияния, одним словом.
Performers
Это
are
горячее можно
also
просто взять
members
и
of
сделать
the White
краткий
Kite
вывод.
Collective. First up, please give a very warm welcome to Palestinian comedian Sami Abu Wakder.
Сейчас будет выступать палестинский комедиант. Надеюсь, я правильно сказала.
This is a poem by Mu'in Ibseso. Palestinian civil society have called for a day of action towards Palestinian prisoners today. So we would like to share his words. Mu'in Ibseso was born in Gaza and he's one of Palestine's most renowned poets. He was imprisoned 4 times. Each time he was imprisoned, he became more determined to seek the liberation of his people. There are over 9,000 Palestinians, including 600 children, currently held hostage in Israeli prisons, many without charge, suffering horrific torture, sexual abuse and rape, according to the United Nations. This is a poem by Mu'in Ibseso named Footsteps. Brother, if they should sharpen the sword on my neck, I would not kneel. Even if their whips lashed my bloodied mouth. If dawn is so close to coming, I shall not retreat. I will rise from the land that feeds our furious storm. Brother, if the executioner should drag me to the slaughterhouse before your eyes to make you kneel, so you might beg him to relent, I would call again. Brother, raise your proud head and watch as they murder me. Witness my executioner, sword dripping with my blood. What shall expose the murderer but our innocent bleeding? At night, their guns kidnapped him from his trench. The hero was flung into the cell's darkness, where, like a banner flutter above chains, he stayed. The chains became flaming torches, burning the ashes which coat our shining future. Now the hero lives, his footsteps ringing triumphantly within the closed walls of every prison. Thank you very much. I'm Sami Abu Wakder.
Thank you. Our next performer, also from the White Kite Collective, is actor Julia Sawalha.
Hello, you beautiful, humane beings of love and light. My dad is from Jordan and he's 91 and he witnessed the beginning of the Nakba. And I said to him a couple of weeks ago, how are you doing, Dad? And he said, never in my lifetime did I think I would see one Palestinian flag flying. He said, now I see millions all over the world. So raise your flags high for a free Palestine! Yes! I'm going to to read you a poem by Fadwa Tupan. And my father interviewed her in the 70s, and he said she was a beautiful lady, and she was the very spirit of Palestinian resistance to the occupation of their land. The deluge and the tree. When the hurricane swirled and spread its deluge of dark evil onto the good green land, they floated. The western skies reverberated with joyous accounts. The tree has fallen. The great trunk is smashed. The hurricane leaves no life in the tree. Had the tree fallen? Never! Not with our red streams flowing forever. Not while the wine of our torn limbs feeds the thirsty roots, Arab roots, alive, tunneling deep, deep into the land. And when the tree rises up, the branches shall flourish, green and fresh in the sun. The laughter of the tree shall leaf beneath the sun, and birds shall return, undoubtedly. The birds shall return. The birds shall return. Thank you.
Обязательно. Птицы обязательно прилетят назад.
I've spoken to quite a few people who have organised big demonstrations over the years, and this is apparently the biggest demonstration anyone can remember in August. Usually everyone's on holiday, but here we are in the streets demanding a ceasefire!
Проходивших в августе, они пришли к выводу, что сегодняшняя демонстрация самая большая, которая когда-либо проходила в августе в Киеве. Не знаю точно, когда-либо, не буду говорить за все времена, но из того, что известно, самая большая демонстрация, которая проходила, когда-либо проходила в августе, потому что август это сезон. Пытается вместе мотузку.
Say stop bombing Israel, I want you to respond, stop bombing Gaza! Stop arming Israel!
Stop bombing Gaza!
Stop arming Israel!
Stop bombing Gaza!
I said stop arming Israel!
Stop bombing Gaza!
Stop arming Israel!
Stop
arming Israel!
Stop bombing Gaza!
Stop arming Israel! Now how about this one? Because there are thousands of us here outside number 10 Downing Street today. 1, we are the people. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2,
You won't be silent.
and 3.
Stop the bombing now. We are the people.
And 2.
You won't be
And
silent.
3.
Stop the bombing now.
1, 2,
Одним словом, мы люди,
3.
мы народ.
1, 2, 3, 4. 5, 6, 7, 8.
Заткните, наверное, скорее всего, не закроете нам, не остановите нас.
5, 6, 7, 8. Our final speaker today is the director of the Palestine Solidarity Campaign. Please welcome Jamal!
Сегодня бомбежки, получается, инициативы. Бомбардировок. Почему бомбардировок? Пытаюсь перевести наш последний.
Friends, I want to thank you again for your solidarity. I want to thank you again for coming onto the streets of London, 100,000 strong.
Я думаю, что это подходит к завершению, выступает главный организатор, который, я не знаю, кто директор,
upon the people of Gaza. And on Thursday, when we passed 300 days, David Lammy, our Foreign Secretary, tweeted a call. He called for the hostages held by Hamas to be released, and he called for a ceasefire. There were things that he did not mention. He did not mention the 40,000 Palestinians slaughtered and the thousands of children in Gaza missing, presumed dead, under the rubble of their homes. He did not mention the hospitals, churches, mosques, schools and universities destroyed as Israel has laid waste to Gaza's infrastructure. And he did not mention that since the beginning of this genocide, unknown thousands of Palestinians in Gaza have been rounded up, detained, stripped and tortured. He did not mention that in the West Bank, since October, Israel has detained more than 10,000 Palestinians, mostly without charge, and he did not see fit to mention the UN report released a day before he tweeted that documented Israel's systemic abuse, torture and rape of those detainees, or if you prefer, Palestinian hostages. And friends, his call for a ceasefire was empty because it did not address the reason why 10 months later there is no ceasefire. It did not address the numerous statements by Netanyahu that Israel will not stop until it has completed the annihilation of Hamas, which means, in its terminology, the annihilation of all of Gaza. Now we know the lessons of history, the lessons of the past 76 years are clear. If you grant Israel impunity, it will do what it wants, commit any atrocity, violate any law. We all saw that reality again this week when it launched strikes on Beirut and Iran, risking a wider war, and in its killing of Ismail Haniyeh, deliberately undermining ceasefire negotiations. Lammy says he wants an end to violence, but we know the truth that he does not address. There will be no peace. There will be no end to violence until there is an end to Israel's system of oppression, until the dismantlement of his regime of colonization, occupation and apartheid. And friends, we know too this lesson from history, that what brings an end to regimes of oppression are two things: the ongoing resistance of the oppressed people and the pressure exerted through global solidarity through the medium of boycott, sanctions and divestment. Our leaders will not end their complicit support for Israel's genocide until we force them to. Our public bodies and our companies will not stop funding Israel's oppression unless we force them to. So friends, we cannot stop our actions, and believe you me, the government and our public bodies and our corporations are feeling the pressure of this movement, of your activism. Before I came on stage, I was contacted with some breaking news. We are waiting to verify it, but we are informed that newspapers are reporting today that the government has instructed civil servants not to process any new licenses for the sale of arms to Israel until it has completed a review. Friends, if that is true, it is because of the pressure of this movement.
acknowledgement, but it is not enough. It is not enough until the government introduces a full two-way arms embargo. But friends, we have other news to share with you that you would have already seen. Last week, King's College became the first university in London to divest from companies supplying we salute the students who campaigned for that victory. Last week, Walton Forest Pension Fund announced that it will divest from all complicit companies. We salute all of the activists who campaigned for that victory, including the local PSC branch. And just in the last few days, Islington Council has announced that it is dropping its contract with Barclays Bank. We salute so friends, we do not stop. Over the next few Saturdays, we want you taking action in your towns and cities. On August the 31st, we want you to take part in a divestment day of action with protests outside local councils and outside Barclays Bank. And in early September, we will soon verify the date. We want you back marching again here in London. Look on our social media for details of all of those actions. Friends, we do not stop. We cannot stop. We never stop until the occupation is ended, until apartheid is dismantled, until all of the Palestinian people from the river to the sea are finally free. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. From the river to the sea. Thank you.
After 300 days of genocide, our determination to break the murderous connection between our government and Israel's genocide is only growing stronger. So please, join the local demonstrations over the next few weeks. Join the divestment day of action outside local councils and local Barclays branches on August the 31st. And then in early September, please bring everyone you know to the next national demonstration. Because whether it's 300 more days or 300 more years, one thing is for certain. We will never give up. We will never back down. We will never be silent. And we will never stop fighting until every inch of Palestine, from the Jordan River all the way to the Mediterranean Sea, is free. Please take care of yourselves as you leave. Leave quickly, leave safely, and if you've got anything to spare, please do donate to the Palestine Solidarity Campaign at any